Last week, it became clear that the prospect of peace between the United States and North Korea was in jeopardy once Kim Jong-un threatened to cancel his upcoming meeting with President Trump in protest of joint military exercises that were conducted between the United States and South Korea. And this week, peace between the United States and North Korea seems even more unlikely because individuals within Donald Trump's administration, like Mike Pence and John Bolton, seem to now be actively trying to undermine peace talks in a pretty blatant way. And they're doing this by constantly issuing implicit threats to North Korea. Now, how? Well, they're bringing up the Libyan model. Now, if you truly want to secure peace with North Korea, you never ever want to mention the Libyan model. In fact, you want to pretend like Libya never existed, because what happened in Libya? Well, after Libya's leader, Muammar Gaddafi, gave up his nuclear weapons just 8 years later, guess what we did? We forced him out of power, where he was then captured and killed thereafter. So the fact that we lied to another dictator who gave up nuclear weapons, that might dissuade Kim Jong-un from wanting to come to the table, because he knows that in giving up his nuclear weapons, he no longer has a deterrent. He no longer has any leverage. He has nothing to stop U.S. aggression. We could just invade him whenever we want to. So we should be trying to do everything in our power to convince him that this isn't going to be another situation like Libya. We're not going to lie to him if he gives up his nuclear weapons and then invade him 8 years later. We should be doing everything to make sure he knows that we are negotiating in good faith here. However, Mike Pence was on Fox News and he decided to contradict that. He decided to imply that, well, maybe the Libya model might be applicable in North Korea.
We really hope that Kim Jong-un will seize the opportunity to dismantle his nuclear weapons program and do so by peaceable means. You know, there was some talk about the Libyan model last week, and you know, as the president made clear, you know, this will only end like the Libyan model ended if Kim Jong-un doesn't make a deal.
Some people saw that as a threat.
Well, I think it's more of a fact. I mean, President Trump made it clear the United States of America, under his leadership, is not going to tolerate the regime in North Korea possessing nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles that threaten the United States and our allies.
That right there is not something you ever want to say if you are genuinely pursuing peace, if you're a good faith actor, if you truly want the United States and North Korea to come up with some type of agreement where peace is an option. You don't say something like that. And to give you some context, when he referenced talks of the Libyan model last week, he was actually talking about idiot comments made by John Bolton, Donald Trump's current national security advisor. And as Julia Manchester of The Hill reports, Pence's remarks come after National Security Advisor John Bolton said on Sunday that the United States was looking at using the Libya model as a way of getting Pyongyang to surrender its nuclear weapons. Now, John Bolton made that comment after Kim Jong-un threatened to cancel the meeting with Donald Trump. So the situation was tense, and here this idiot John Bolton opens his big mouth and says, well, you know what? If Kim Jong-un doesn't want to come to the table, maybe we should pursue the Libya model. You don't say that when he's already thinking of backing out. You do what you can to use diplomacy to lure him back in and bring him to the table. But John Bolton doesn't want that, because if North Korea actually cooperates with us, then that means we can't invade them. That means that regime change will no longer be an option. And what makes the situation even more interesting is that Donald Trump himself is still seemingly committed to peace talks because, quote, President Trump said on Monday that the U.S. would offer protections to Kim if he agreed to give up his nuclear weapons, adding he was not considering the Libyan model, appearing to contradict Bolton. The Libyan model isn't a model that we have at all when we are thinking of North Korea, Trump said. In Libya, we decimated that country. That country was decimated. There was no deal to keep President Muammar Gaddafi. The Libyan model that was mentioned was a much different deal. So, surprisingly, Donald Trump is saying the right thing in this situation. He is trying to convey to Kim Jong-un, this isn't another Libyan situation. We're trying to make sure that we actually get peace, and our deal will include a provision to protect you, so we can't invade you once you relinquish the power and leverage that you have. But here's the thing. it doesn't matter what Donald Trump wants, because you have saboteurs in his administration like Mike Pence and John Bolton who are trying to actively tank peace talks with the US and North Korea. That's apparent now, because after John Bolton opened his big mouth when the prospect of peace was in jeopardy, Donald Trump came along and tried to clean up the mess that John Bolton made. And what does Mike Pence do? He opens his big mouth on Fox News and contradicts what Trump says after Trump contradicted what Bolton says. And Pence says, you know what, actually, the Libyan model might be what we should pursue. And he even cited Donald Trump. So he tried to legitimize himself, saying, no, this is coming directly from the president. We're going to be tough on you. But the president just said a couple of days ago that they're not pursuing the Libya model, and that the deal that was struck with Libya did not include a provision to protect Muammar Gaddafi, whereas this deal with Kim Jong-un would include a provision to protect him, which is a necessary provision, because why would he negotiate if he thinks that you're going to overthrow him once he gives up his nuclear weapons? Donald Trump is still committed to peace, seemingly, but people in his administration are trying to sabotage that from happening. How are members of Donald Trump's support base not seeing this and not calling out? Why are progressives having to come out and condemn people within Donald Trump's administration who are undermining Donald Trump when he's trying to do perhaps the one good thing he's ever even tried to do since he's been president? This is absolutely insane. How is the mainstream media not talking about how the vice president and national security advisor are actively trying to tank peace talks between the US and North Korea? They're now undermining Donald Trump because they want war with Kim Jong-un and North Korea. They will stop at nothing. They don't care if they have to undermine Donald Trump. They are bloodthirsty warmongers, and they will never not be bloodthirsty warmongers. So it's very clear that if talks between the US and North Korea fall through and this meeting is canceled for whatever reason and we aren't able to secure a peace deal, we'll know who to blame specifically: John Bolton and Mike Pence. But at the same time, Donald Trump is still partially culpable, because if you truly care about peace and if diplomacy is a goal for you, you don't appoint people like John Bolton to be your national security advisor. That makes no sense whatsoever. Why would you choose the biggest warmonger in the country? Why would you select Mike Pompeo as your Secretary of State if you truly cared about peace? You knew that there was a possibility that these individuals would try to undermine you, but he chose them anyway. So Donald Trump, even if he may be acting in good faith here with regard to North Korea, he still is to blame. Because if you really want peace, if you want that Nobel Peace Prize, Donald Trump, then you can't surround yourself with bloodthirsty warmongers who are going to actively undermine anything you do to try to secure peace. So understand that this is what's happening. Mike Pence and John Bolton don't want peace because they want an invasion, and they're trying to tank peace talks with North Korea. It's sickening.
Support this podcast by becoming a patron at patreon.com/Humanist Report.